Let's get back to it.
The credit crunch is a direct result of the Wild West attitude in regulations and honesty in the City of London, an insider has claimed. It's a culture in which greed is not so much good as God, and where nothing and no one matters more than getting the next bonus. It's given birth to the monster that is throttling the cash right out of us ordinary folk who don't get to eat at those troughs. It's all about gambling with other people's money, and to hell with the consequences. It's just confirming what we suspected all along. The rise in London's financial centre over its competitors is essentially down to the casual nod-and-a-wink governance, he says. Step out of line and get caught in America, and you'll likely spend the next 300 years in jail. That is, a jail you can't just saunter out of using the front gate, like you can from low-security, or rather no-security, jails in this country. Not that you'd ever get sent to one if you did get nabbed here. Like MPs fiddling their expenses, they're all doing it, says this insider, who's written a book that casts a light into the dark corners of those shiny buildings in the city. Spreading false rumours to deflate a stock's value, then snapping the shares up on the cheap. Tax evasion, insider trading, it's all just run-of-the-mill. Private jets met by limousines filled with naked hookers on cocaine and champagne. That's just the perks of the job. It must be like touring with Van Halen. And speaking of trips, another confession hit the headlines today. Lovable, soft, safe Judith Chalmers was pantless for the entire 30 years of presenting the TV holiday show Wish You Were Here. She wanted to avoid a visible panty line, which can affect those without buns of steel. The thought of Judith Chalmers going commando is one I'll put into the Valerie Singleton sexual exploits file of things we didn't know last week and now wish we were still ignorant of. Cher was right. If only we could turn back time. And she was probably pantless when she sang that. Last time I saw Cher, she was wearing a dress made of 2 short lengths of dental floss and a stamp. She is so demure. And only 98 years old. She is looking fantastic, isn't she? Right, the phone number here, 0845 6060 973, if you've ever seen an alien. It was on the front page of the Super Soaraway today, and it was the only paper that took this story. I can't believe it. Maybe I got an early copy of The Sun, and none of the other papers had seen it in time to put it in. Undoubtedly, I mean, that food has gone up a little bit, that petrol is a bit more expensive. All of this pales into insignificance compared to this story here. And there's been a glut of them lately. Have you noticed? It's not that it's the silly season, because the MPs are still sitting. They haven't gone on holiday yet. They'll go on holiday shortly, and it seems, for the rest of their lives. Not even teachers get as much holiday as MPs. Cue teachers rushing to the phone, moaning, "We don't get any holidays at all, we're working all the way through." Yeah, I know. A shaken soldier told last night how he saw 13 UFOs spinning in the skies above his military barracks. Corporal Mark was among 3 squaddies who spotted the objects when on night patrol. He filmed them on his mobile phone and reported the close encounter to Army top brass. Are they supposed to take mobile phones on night patrol? It doesn't really give you... I mean, isn't there a better way of communicating with your troops than by mobile phone? Why don't you just pass it on to their girlfriend so they can pop it in a letter? It seems a bit casual, doesn't it? Mobile phone. OK, righto. The modern world. I suppose I'll have to get used to it. Ministry of Defence experts were studying his report and video yesterday after ordering Mark and his pals not to say anything about the incident. I often think about this. I have a mobile phone that does absolutely bloomin' everything. Buried away in its menu is the ability to actually make phone calls, during which it boils my brain. I have to hold it at arm's length. And I can't be the only one. I've got that thin thing that everyone's got, or used to, before they, upgraded to phones that can tell you where you are in the world. Like that would be a useful thing to have. Where am I? Well, I suppose Amy Winehouse, you'd always be consulting it, wouldn't you? But no, I think my phone... Well, I know my phone has the ability to take video. How I would do that, I have no idea. I don't even know how to take a photograph. Occasionally, when I try to answer a phone call, I take a photograph of myself. And by the time I try and I've got through to whoever it is that's calling me, they've gone. But I do look fantastic, if I do say so myself. I'm dreamy. Isn't that right, James?
Absolutely.
But for that reason alone, just in case you see anything that you need to record, you know, like somebody stabbing you in the face or setting light to your feet, that sort of thing that happens to us ordinarily when we go out shopping, I would like to know how my phone works. But the thing that it comes with is about the size of a telephone directory, and who's going to wade through that? I'll tell you who. No bloke. That's who. We'll just fiddle with it and press buttons till eventually we can figure it out. Not so far. Anyway, back to this very important, completely true story. The Ministry of Defence experts studying his report and video yesterday after ordering Mark and his pals not to say anything else about the incident. Very suspicious. The sighting at Turnhill Barracks near Market Drayton in Shropshire came 2 hours before helicopter police officers reported an encounter with a huge craft 80 miles away near Cardiff. Because we heard that story a little while ago as well, just a few days ago, right? So this was on the same day, and only now have we come to find out that they were not alone. And 3 hours before that, a couple claimed they were followed by a strange light in the sky along the A5 near Shrewsbury. Yesterday, further mind-boggling evidence emerged as dog walker Bonnie told how she filmed 7 UFOs at Bromsgrove in Worcestershire last Friday. Corporal Proctor of the... Oh, blimey, I bet he gets a lot of stick, doesn't he? Corporal Proctor of the 1st Battalion Irish Regiment revealed how he saw amazing craft just after 11 p.m. on Saturday, June the 7th. He said, "I was on duty in the guard room when the other boys outside began shouting. I went out to see what all the commotion was and saw 13 craft in the sky. They were zigzagging, but I filmed 2 before they disappeared. They were like rotating cubes with multiple colours." Groovy. "I made a full report to my commanding officer and gave them my footage. The other lads were as amazed by it as I was," he says. A 19-year-old private on patrol said he also saw the fleet. So it wasn't just one drunk nutter who saw it and then nobody else did. Other people that were there with him caught it on their mobile phones. Somebody else saw it from another location. And these aren't just local yokels. These aren't farmers standing in the middle of their field with a crooked stick. These are highly trained professionals. A soldier who asked not to be named said, "I saw these things flying in the sky and I told my guard commander. There were about 30 lights passing over for a few minutes, very high, but not at great speed. They were bright red. Another soldier saw them too. An MOD spokesman said, "Nothing to see here, move along." Essentially. "We deal with any UFO sightings to see if there was a military threat," he said. The Sun told last week how helicopter cops were confronted by an object as they attempted to land at their base near Cardiff on the same night. Cabaret duo Katie and Russell claimed that they were pursued by lights in the sky for nearly an hour at 1 a.m. the following morning. And last night, Bonnie told of seeing a cylinder-shaped craft. She said, "They weren't from this world. They made no sound and had flashing dots inside." Yowza. And this adds to the mystery about the helicopters that I saw flying over London. I was talking about this. I was talking about this. Yeah, I was talking about it. I was talking about this. Is that right? Suddenly
Yes.
It sounds funny.
That's fine.
Yeah. Wasn't I? Yeah, that's correct too. It just sounds odd. I was, wasn't I? Yeah, that's...
In it, yeah, good.
In it, yeah, that's right. Yes, I was talking about this last night. Apache attack helicopters just cruising around, as though they were looking for a fight. Well, maybe the MOD is onto something here. They know that we are being visited of late. Maybe they're taking their holidays here. Come to Earth. It's super. The people are crazy. They just come and have a quick peek at, and, you know, scare some locals. Probe a couple of people, just singly, in the middle of nowhere, so that no one would ever believe them, and then zip off again. But if you were the head of the MOD, and all of these reports started to come in that unexplained craft were flying over, don't you think that you would throw up a couple of Apache attack helicopters to circle London, just in case? I think I would. Maybe that's what that is. We are not alone.
Well, that's that one covered then.
Yes, that's it. That's a complete explanation. There you are. You see, now we can move on. 0845 6060 973. It's 7:44 and a bit. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. And just getting word in now that the...
Absolutely.
Hey, they're killing pigeons. Good thing, too. There were ruffled feathers and no small amount of flapping at the world's most genteel tennis tournament yesterday after a threat of legal action from animal rights lobbyists over the culling of pigeons that had the temerity to bother some players. This is in The Independent, who revealed on Monday marksmen armed with rifles and employed by the All England Club spent part of Sunday evening stalking the grounds. Several birds were killed. Not enough. And there's a picture of one of them, and it looks like not the sort of rifle that would that you'd shoot a little pigeon with. It sounds like this. It looks like the sort of thing you'd take on the Taliban with. It's huge. Mind you, you can't overreact to the winged, feathery menace, can you? Several birds were killed. Wimbledon usually takes a hawk to scare away the troublesome creatures, but some players had complained that they were being dive-bombed, and rapid action was deemed necessary before the gates opened to the public. Yesterday, the club was reported to the Metropolitan Police Wildlife Crime Unit for alleged infringement of the Animal Welfare Act of 2006.
What?
Pigeons? In a letter to the club's chairman, Tim, the vice president of... Oh, no, wait. The club's chairman's called Tim. Bruce is the vice president of the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, which bills itself as the world's largest animal rights organisation. The club was warned, Wimbledon was warned, that it could face court action for shooting pigeons. Well, Woody Allen was absolutely right about that. They're rats with wings. Who cares about pigeons?
Have you heard the song Poisoning Pigeons in the Park?
Yes, I have. It's one of my favourites. Let's all sing it now. Who was that who sang that?
Tom Lehrer.
Tom Lehrer, that's right. Well, of course, an even more pertinent one is the old Dick Dastardly theme. Stop the Pigeon. Stop the Pigeon. You remember? Mr. Friedrich, this PETA person, wrote in his letter, what seems to have happened is that since you last updated your protocol for dealing with pigeons, a law was passed, the Animal Welfare Act 2006, that you must not know about. Lethal control can only be used if the target species presents a demonstrable risk to public health and safety. Well, it does. Aren't they ridden with disease? Plus, they were dive-bombing the players. And getting in the way. Well, honestly, really, who cares about pigeons enough to make a complaint about it? That's ridiculous.
But if you could kill things for getting in the way, there'd be no pedestrians left.
Oh, there's an interesting experiment that is being extended. I talked about this when they first started it in Holland. I might talk about that in a minute. First of all, here's a call in Surrey. Hello, Patricia.
Hello.
Patricia.
Lovely to hear you.
And you.
Nick. And the best of British. I've got a list here. Can you bear to hear it?
Oh, we were doing this yesterday. Yeah, all right, then, go on.
Oxford and Cambridge boat race. The proms at the Albert Hall.
Yeah.
Taxis in London and their drivers. The National Health. Irish dancing. Bagpipes.
Irish dancing?
Yes.
What, they just jump up...
That's British.
Well, yeah, but they would just jump up and down on the spot.
It's wonderful. Bagpipes.
Oh, dear.
Guy Fawkes. London Parks and crafts.
Crafts?
Yes.
Crafts?
Yes.
All those silly doggy people.
Well, I'm not a doggy person. I'm a catty person, but still, people who like dogs, that's all right, isn't it?
I suppose, yeah, keep them all in the same place. Good idea.
Actually, I listen to you every night. Cheers me up. You've got a terrific sense of humour.
Well, you've got to have a laugh, ain't you?
Absolutely, love.
Thanks a lot, Patricia.
All right, love.
Cheers, my dear.
Good
Ta-ta.
night.
Yeah, that was a good list. I disagreed with half of it, but, I'm not always right.
It started well and went downhill
Yeah,
rapidly.
well, as soon as she hit
Crafts.
as soon as she hit bagpipes, then she'd lost me. Bagpipes? No one likes bagpipes. Even the people that play them don't like them. In fact, they've become illegal now, haven't they? Because they make such a racket. It's louder than watching Led Zeppelin. That you actually have to have earplugs in order to play them. You have to have ear defenders in order to play bagpipes. They should be issued to the audience too. Or just headphones attached to an iPod so you can listen to something else. Yeah. See, not one call in defence of pigeons. I didn't think so. Nobody likes them. And every time you go under a bridge, you think, it's like you're playing pigeon poop Russian roulette. because that's where they're all up there, and occasionally you get unlucky, right? It's going to happen to you once in your life, you know it will. And it's not lucky, it's unlucky. There was a lot... Gosh, I don't even know where to start, really. There was a lot about the police, about police targets, about teaching the police common sense, about... well, the one story, of course, that did exercise the press today was this fella here. And this just about sums it all up. The trouble started on the evening of February the 17th, when Mr. McCourt and his wife Maria heard a bang on the window of their semi-detached home in Crawley in West Sussex. Mr. McCourt went outside to find two boys of about 11 throwing stones, mud and eggs at houses. I'm blaming the parents before I've even got through this story. He reprimanded them and told them not to come back. When he returned from work the next day, he found his wife in tears. She said she was absolutely terrified. She told him that a gang of kids had been throwing things at the house all afternoon and shouting all the names under the sun at her. And when they came back later, Mr. McCourt called the police on their anti-social behaviour hotline. Oh, great. But he couldn't get an answer, despite being on hold for 3/4 of an hour. What's the point of having a hotline if there's no one... That's not a hotline, that's a cold line. It's another one of these kind of government... Oh, well, this is like a... Don't actually fix the problem. Just pretend like you're fixing the problem. Announce an initiative, and then you can say that the problem's been sorted. But it doesn't actually even begin to affect the problem. So anyway, can you imagine that, though? Your wife's in there. She's, a nice... well, I was going to say old, but I don't know quite how old she is. I'll say she's a nice old lady. She's sitting in on her own, a group of kids outside, throwing things at the house all afternoon, and screaming and shouting and swearing and the lot of it. So when he came back later, he called this hotline. 45 minutes later, still no answer. At his wit's end, he went out to look for a community support officer, but he couldn't find one. No big surprise. So he went outside and he grabbed one of the louts, and he led him into his house, and he demanded to know the boy's name, his mother's name, and her phone number. It was a citizen's arrest. Just the very sort of thing that you'd think an honest, upstanding citizen should be doing. Well done, that man. While he was trying to call the boy's mother, she turned up, banging on the door, shouting and swearing. He said, "She said she didn't want me manhandling her son. I said if she brought him up properly, I wouldn't have to." He let the child go. Minutes later, the police arrived and arrested the youth on suspicion of causing damage. Just kidding. They arrested the man who'd collared the youth and effected a citizen's arrest. Of course they did. Welcome to Britain. He was charged with assault, and a date was set for the trial, but the case was later dropped. His MP, Laura Moffat, who took up the matter with the police, said, thankfully, common sense won the day. Probably because his MP took it up with the police. This family has suffered a horrendous level of intimidation from antisocial youths. A Sussex police spokesman said, "An allegation was made and officers duly investigated the facts reported to police. A file was presented to the Crown Prosecution Service in accordance with procedure." Idiots. Everybody associated with this case is an idiot. The parents are idiots, the police are idiots, and the Crown Prosecution Service are idiots for letting it get that far in the first place. Nobody came out of that covered in glory. They're all fools.
Sadly, I could see where you were going with that halfway through. You knew what was going to happen.
Of course, yes. It couldn't have happened any other way, right? He did the right thing and got collared for doing it. And I think that the case hung over him for weeks and weeks and months on end. He had the potential to go to prison just because some kids were throwing something at his house.
The only thing is, if someone was throwing stuff at my house, I'd ring 999. I don't think that's an abuse of 999, is it?
What difference would it make? They'd come around...
Well, hopefully you're better than the antisocial
behaviour.
behaviour.
I'll tell you exactly what would happen. They'd come around in half an hour, crawling slowly up the street. If, by which time the kids hadn't already scarpered, they would disperse at that point, and the police would I don't know, ask him if everything was okay, and then they'd leave, and the kids would just come back, more determined than ever to ruin their lives. And that's essentially what we're talking about here, ruining people's life. Because they don't feel safe in their house anymore, how could they? They've got kids who have understood the message that they can do anything they like and get away with it. The law will stand up for them, not for the people that they're throwing things at. And so they are now not safe in their home. They can't sleep well at night because they're frightened that a brick will come through the window or someone will set fire to it or whatever the hell it is that these kids have got in their mind, their tiny little minds, to inflict on them next. And you know whose fault it is? It's the stupid parents. That's whose fault it is. How can you let your child go out and throw things at somebody's house and then complain to the people in the house, not the child? I mean, I can't even imagine such a thing. How can people grow up to be old enough to actually reproduce and still be that stupid? But they're encouraged to be that stupid because that's the way the law lies. The whole world's gone crazy. This is LBC 97.3.
Honey, the kid. Thank you for holding. Your call's important to us.
Here's Colin Harrow. Hello, Jason.
Hi, hi Nick. How you doing? You all right?
Yes, very well, thanks.
Jason there for a sec. It's just to say about these sort of nuisance kids who are running riot.
Yes.
All over the place, and it's a point which I'd like to say is I do blame the parents, and I think I had this conversation with you about 3 weeks ago. I work in the custody suite at a really busy London police station, and we get these kids say Billy has just smashed up 3 or 4 windows, or Billy's been stopped carrying a knife, or whatever.
Yeah.
And we get the parents who come into the police station after work or after signing on the dole, whatever it is they do, not stereotyping there.
No, go ahead, stereotype.
They almost seem hell-bent on sticking up for their kids,
yes,
even before they've found out what's happened.
Yes,
what happened.
Because they're idiots.
It's almost like, when I grew up, it was if a policeman came to your door, I'd get a slap even before my mum and dad had found out what was going on. Even if I'd save the world, I'd still get a slap, but just because a policeman was at my door. But
you couldn't imagine that a policeman would come to your door.
I'd be mortified, absolutely mortified. But now we even before the officer has a chance to explain to the parents, we stopped your son, he was carrying a knife and he just knifed 2 or 3 children and committed robbery. They're like, well, why have you arrested my son? What's he done? He's never done anything wrong in his life. Why have you arrested him? I demand to know why you've arrested him. Well, if you just shut up, then give us a chance to say that your son's been stopped carrying a knife, that he's taken this knife into a school premises and threatened other children with it. Well, I'm sure he didn't mean it. It was nothing to do with him. He's always been picked on by the police. And we get this day in, day out. And I resign myself to the fact, thinking we will always need people to work at McDonald's. And I'm not belittling people. I'm not belittling people who work at McDonald's. I'm sure they do a hard enough job. But we will always need people like that in society, and I've resigned myself to it, and I think, do you know what, just let it go, don't get wound up about it. We will always need people to carry out our mundane tasks.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of these people aren't going to be carrying out mundane tasks. They'll be sitting on the sofa, having a fag and watching Trisha all day. And we'll be paying for their luxury little lifestyles, yeah.
And just before you cut me off or I go, I'm at Cranford Community School, where they're having evening classes teaching bagpipes. And
really?
Yep, the Pride of Murray pipe band. You can Google it. The Pride of Murray, and they're having bagpipe classes here, and they sound absolutely excellent. I love them to bits.
But you're not learning bagpipes.
I'm not learning bagpipes. I'm learning to play the drums.
Right. Okay. I bet you're popular with the neighbours.
It's a lovely instrument, and I think it sort of. Playing it along, it does make me feel proud. It's an instrument of war, and you know when there's a piper around. So
yes,
I think they're great.
All right, thanks for that, Jason.
Take care.
Cheers, mate. Ta-da. Yes, he doesn't play them himself, but he knows someone who does. Right. 0845 6060 973. You can text me if you like. 84850. John in a cab. Hello.
Hello, Nick. How you going, mate? All right.
Very well, thanks.
Nick, just a thought on this guy who sort of got done by the police for making a citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just move to his second house like Miss Harmon done?
Yeah, unfortunately we don't all have that ability.
Oh, don't we? Oh, I see. Because I was just wondering how the ones with their heads in the trough, they're going to sort of react to this, you know?
What you mean, if this happened to an MP, then the outcome would have been significantly different.
Oh, I see. Like you mean Mr. and Mrs. Ballsy's 30 grand that they had towards their second home that they've just been caught out for.
You see, everyone's getting very cynical and overly suspicious about everything that MPs or really anybody that has any power over us is getting up to. We don't have faith in any of them anymore.
I wonder why.
Yeah, well, there you go. I wonder why. Yeah, it's because of what they do. Yeah. All right. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Nick. Cheers, mate.
0845 6060 973. A text. I saw Andrew Lloyd Webber once. Does that count as seeing an alien? Nick, of course I've seen an unearthly creature. I saw Gordon Brown on PM's Question Time. Here, how did he do today? Did anybody see the Prime Minister's Question Time?
No.
No, you didn't.
I did actually. I saw a little bit.
Really? And how was he? Does he still...
It was all right. They didn't really seem to be getting anywhere today. They just seemed to be firing off insults at each other like little girls.
Like blanks. Firing blanks. Has he still got that stuttering thing? Mr. Speaker. It's the only thing he stutters over.
He did that a couple of times today, yeah. It took about 5 seconds to actually get the words out.
Yes. It's not as though he has a stutter, because he doesn't stutter over any of the words. It's just as though he's a car cold starting in the morning every time he gets off his bottom and stands at the dispatch box. But Mr. Speaker. Just say Mr. Speaker. I mean, there's a man who doesn't need another annoying habit, right? What with the nails and the dropping his jaw every time he breathes in. There's no end of things to pick him up on. Another text. 2 words that don't work together: crime and reduction. Oh, pigeons are actually very nice to eat. Fried, grilled, stewed, or as pigeon pie, a delicacy in the Middle East. Well, we'll send some over. We got no end of them here. Here's a call in Eltham. Hello, Phil.
All right, Nick. Hi. That's quick. Good to speak to you again.
Another satisfied customer.
I listen to myself on the podcast, to be honest.
Oh, yes.
And not just me, I hasten to add, but I think I talk really slow. You're probably doing it now.
Well, just like that, yeah.
Yes. But anyway.
Well, sometimes we have slow days. I feel like I'm having a slow day today. Yesterday, I was much faster than I am today. You know, sometimes the synapses just aren't firing as they normally do.
Yeah. But, by the way, you know, sometimes you worry about never having any callers.
Yeah.
Well, not having callers. To be honest, I personally enjoy your diatribe. Is that a word?
Oh, right. You'd prefer that I just worked harder.
I like your monologue. That's a word.
Right.
I much prefer it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Don't call in. So I'm violating my own rule at the moment.
Right, okay. So it's you sitting at home just listening to me suffer. That gives you more pleasure. Righto. Just as long as I know, yeah.
Yeah. Just calling, Nick, about noisy neighbours.
Noisy neighbours, yes.
Yeah. I have a bit of it, but thankfully not too badly. But especially in the summer, it must drive people crazy.
Well, you know, this is the sort of thing that people just sort of kind of ignore. Unless you're actually suffering from it, then it seems like an insignificant, petty thing to moan about. But actually, it's the kind of thing that ruins people's lives.
Mm. Sorry.
Because you get hypersensitive to any kind of noise. Fortunately, I don't have noisy neighbours, but every now and again you can hear a door slam. And it'll only happen like once every couple of days, but it sets my teeth on edge, because I don't like... Well, I don't really like people, but I don't like being around... I don't like being attached to anybody. Do you know what I mean? Being stuck by bricks to anywhere where anybody else is living, because there's always the fear that they might go crazy, start playing Celine Dion into the middle of the night, or they might leave and some nutters might move in, and there'll be all 24-hour party people.
Yeah.
So there's that always that fear in London, unless you've got so much money you can insulate yourself from it and live in a detached house.
Yeah.
that, yes, the noisy neighbours will ruin your life. Yes.
Yeah, and it's not trivial. I'm sure it could lead people to kill themselves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Quite easily.
Yes, both by their own hand and just by the ruination of their health, yeah.
Yeah, stress and all that. And especially when people play, it doesn't really affect me, to be honest, but thank God. But people play this loud, bassy,
yeah.
You know, do.
Well, unfortunately, bass is the thing that carries, isn't it?
Yeah,
in fact, somebody, I was reading a little while ago, somebody has invented a film, a sheet that is about as thin as a piece of paper, that has some sort of, I can't remember what it was, it's like impregnated with something or other. It actually stops all sound. All sound. So the idea that people had was, all you do is put it on the wall like wallpaper, and you will have a soundproof booth, wherever you might be. Isn't that fantastic?
I'd buy that straight away.
Yeah, exactly. We should get on with it.
But the thing is, Nick, why the hell can't people just use headphones? Just beyond me, because you can still get the 3D effect with headphones.
But it's because, yeah, I don't get it either. I don't understand how people can listen to music so loud or allow their children to throw rocks at people's windows and like a little bell doesn't go off in their brain telling them that this is perhaps not something that they should do because you're interfering with the lives of other people. As someone who can't enjoy loud music if I feel that someone else might hear it and it might annoy them, and so I'm forever turning stuff down, I really can't understand the mindset of people that just don't care.
No.
And it's actually beyond not caring. It's as though it's almost like a statement of their, I don't know, whatever it might be, masculinity, machismo, or hardness, or whatever it might be. It's like, this is my turf, and you can go and take a running jump at yourself if you don't like it. Yeah.
No, it's the same mob who sort of blow their car horns at 3 a.m.
Yes. Precisely.
Same mindset.
Exactly. It's not like they don't care. It's one louder than that. It's not like they're not thinking of it. They know that they're causing a problem and they're gaining pleasure from it, I think. Maybe that's
sadism.
What that is. Yeah. Sadism.
Like that woman who played loud music for a year. And there's nothing the authorities can really do about it.
Well, and that's two idiotic things. She's an idiot, and so are the authorities for not finding some way to do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if somebody is annoying you with music being played all night long, then you should, the authorities should have the power to boot her door in and smash her stereo up with a sledgehammer.
Oh, yeah, common sense.
Exactly, it's common sense, which is a misnomer because there's nothing common about it.
Yeah.
In fact, the police are going to have to be taught common sense in a story that just came out today. I might read that in a moment. Thanks very much, Phil.
Thanks, Nick.
Keep the music down.
Will do.
0845 6060 973. It's 8:15. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. Updates can...
Police officers must learn again how to use their common sense and discretion in fighting crime after years of rigid guidelines and targets, a Chief Constable warned yesterday. They're actually going to have to teach them common sense. Or rather, they're going to have to loosen the shackles on them, because they've been under the cosh, so to speak, for so many years now that they've kind of forgotten what it's like just to use their common sense. Julia Hodson, the new Chief of Police of Nottinghamshire, said her officers must be re-skilled before they're fit to play a greater role in decision-making over which offenders are over which offenders are charged with crimes. Rank-and-file police leaders seized on her comments as evidence that years of target setting by government had seriously eroded common-sense policing in the UK, leaving officers chasing short-term performance targets and engulfed in red tape. OK, why? Why did they chase short-term performance targets? There can be no other reason than to make the government look good. This is why they set all of these targets. This is why they're so obsessed with controlling everything from the centre. So they can have control over the statistics, which will make them look good. Home Secretary Jackie Smith... Shouldn't she be called Jacqueline as Home Secretary? Because Home Secretary, you're supposed to have a little gravitas about you, right? Jack is a pole dancer. Jacqueline is your Home Secretary. Am I right? Anyway, Jack A used a speech to the Association of Chief Police Officers to promise a move away from Whitehall targets to allow police officers to use their own judgment. So she's promising that they're going to relax the grip of central control. Right. Well, we'll believe that when we see it. The Vice-Chairman of the Police Federation of England and Wales said, "This supports what the Police Federation has been saying for years, that there's been a gradual erosion of common-sense policing, where police officers previously used their experience and discretion when deciding how best to deal with a situation." Like that guy with their kids throwing their rocks outside the house. I mean, common-sense approach. I mean, if I was the copper that showed up, I'd give the parents a really strong lecture, threaten to throw them in jail along with their stupid rat-like children, and offer a guarantee of protection to the people whose lives are being blighted by these awful kids. Right? That would be the common-sense approach. But no, they couldn't do that, because why? Because either the government has caused their brains to be removed, or the control from the government is so great that they're not allowed to make common-sense decisions, and they have to go by the book. And the book isn't written for use in real life, because there aren't... No one rule can cover real life, can it? You have to make decisions up as you go along. Instead, he says, they are now chasing quick targets and are engulfed in endless red tape. Shadow Home Secretary Dominic Grieve said, you see, now, he's called Dominic Grieve. It would be the same as him calling himself Dom. I mean, you couldn't take him seriously, right? Dominic Grieve said, after 10 years of top-down control under Labour, it's unsurprising that officers are in this position. Conservatives will free up the police by scrapping unnecessary targets, as well as restoring local accountability through directly elected police commissioners. See, this is the idea in America, right? You have, it's called, oh, blimey, it's so long since we've had any in this country, I've forgotten what it's called. It's called, a democracy, that's right. I didn't actually forget that word. Well, you do, don't you? You know, the people who are being, served and protected by the police actually get to choose who's doing it. A major review of policing in England and Wales by policing watchdog Sir Ronnie warned that the police were becoming increasingly risk-averse and claimed excessive bureaucracy was encouraging them to over-record and under-deliver for fear of being criticised. See, it's the easy way out. More difficult to actually tackle the kids who are doing it, because they're under the age of criminal responsibility, which is silly in itself. I mean, they knew they were doing wrong, right? They're not too young to not know that it's wrong to throw bricks at someone's house. So that's daft, for a start. But also, much easier to tick off the bloke who collared the kid who did it, thereby reducing the possibility that they'll be criticised. Miss Smith, Jackie, also unveils plans to allow the public to elect members of local police authorities, the bodies which oversee the work of each police force, which is kind of one of those Me Too copycat catch-up policy decisions. I think one of the reasons that the Tory party aren't saying anything, that they haven't actually come out and suggested how they might change Britain should they ever get in, is because every time they say something, Labour says, oh yeah, we were going to do that. Despite the fact that we said exactly the opposite for the last 10 years. Oh, yeah, we were thinking that all along. Yeah, we were definitely going to do that. And they nick it. So maybe they're not just, devoid of ideas in the Tory party. They just keep them close to their chest. Just a thought. So there's that, and a couple of other police targets stories that came in lately on that same line. Police are ignoring serious crime to meet government targets, a think tank said just lately. So this is actually worse. They're ignoring serious crime to meet government targets. And again, a government target will say something of the order of, you must clear up 1,000 crimes in the course of a year. Now, if you were a policeman and you were running your little department and you had to meet that target in order to get your bonus or your promotion or keep your job or whatever it might be, then you'd hit that target come hell or high water, right? Because you're a human being. and human beings take the easy way out, unless directed and instructed to do otherwise, or unless they feel that they'll benefit by taking the hard way, the high road, or the difficult route, wherever you want to put it. So what's the easiest way to do it? Well, you get somebody who's dropped a piece of gum on the floor, and then somebody else who's walking their dog without a lead, and, all these silly, petty things. And so you concentrate on filling up the logbook, and then leave the important stuff because it's more difficult to solve. Of course that was going to be the result. Any fool know that. I wish the people would ask me first, or just ask anybody in the street. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? Anyway. Centrally imposed objectives have moved resources away from preventing severe crime and led to thousands more youths being criminalised for less serious offences and antisocial behaviour, a study from the Institute of Public Policy Research claims. There's another confusing thing. We lock up more kids, more people in general, per head of population than almost any other country in the world. Yet, apparently, it's not nearly enough. Now, is this because the newspapers are scenting blood here, and they know that by continually reporting this kind of thing, they will sell newspapers? By playing on people's fears, they'll make more money, essentially, because their circulation will go up, which is the Daily Mail's method of attack. Or is it actually true that we are more criminal and out of control than almost any other country in the world? That can't be true, can it? Jolly old England? I mean, that's not the... even now, that's not the attitude that we have of ourselves. The best of British, that little list that was conducted by that hotel group, and I did something the same yesterday. Basically what people were saying was the same as they would have said in the 1950s. That's still the idea that we have of ourselves. Cricket on the village green, warm beer in the sunshine, strawberries for tea, all of that. We don't think of ourselves as some out-of-control yob nation, do we? We do when we pick up the papers, because we read this stuff over and over and over again. But I don't believe that is the... without those stories in front of our eyes, I don't think that that's how we think of ourselves. That's certainly not how the rest of the world thinks of us. The rest of the world thinks we all know the Queen and we live in stately homes. We go to work each day with a furled umbrella under our arm, which I believe is the only time that you would ever use the word furled. Nothing else is furled, is it? Only the brolly. And nobody uses them anymore. Freedom of Information requests found that targets led to a disproportionate focus on minor offending by young people. See, that this might explain the press coverage. It's not that the press coverage are causing it. They're just reflecting what the police are doing. So, essentially, the situation hasn't changed. It's just that the police are writing these offences down more. They're reaching the papers more frequently than they used to. So it looks as though the youth is out of control. Whereas, in all possibility, the situation today is exactly the same as it was 10 years ago, and 20 years ago, and in Victorian times, and beyond. I mean, the streets in Victorian England weren't very safe, any more than they are now. Probably less safe, right? So, it's the government what did it by putting in these targets in the first place. They have highlighted what is essentially their own failure. Oh! If they hadn't done that, we'd be blissfully ignorant about all of this, because the press wouldn't be recording it, because the police wouldn't be noting it down and criminalising these people who are picked up for these minor offences. They would all still be going on, but we would have the impression that everything is, as we used to say, tickety-boo. They've actually shot themselves in the foot. Current targets to bring more offenders to justice have resulted in the police concentrating on easier-to-solve, low-level crimes committed by children and teenagers. This has not resulted in crime reduction, but serves to criminalise young people, increases reoffending, and misdirects important resources away from dealing with severe offences and crime prevention. This is what this study has just found. All of which is bloomin' obvious, if you think about it. The crime reduction charity NACRO, which I haven't heard of, said, government targets to increase the number of offences brought to justice have increased the persecution of young people in cases where informal warnings would make more sense. You know, like common sense. The think tank proposes community justice panels in which victims or members of the community would agree to contracts made with the offenders so they can make up for the damage they've done. Also common sense. Don't send them to some young juvenile institution for 6 months where they'll just learn how to break into houses more efficiently. Face them to the people whose lives they've ruined and make them pay for the actual thing that they've done in real terms, not some sort of airy-fairy, you'll do 20 hours community service. Put right what they've done. And then they will associate the punishment with the crime. Seems obvious to me. LBC 97.3, 8:30.
Hey, how are you?
Super, thanks for asking. Here's call in Leabridge, Shima.
Hello.
Hello, Shima.
Good evening. Hi. I'm calling regarding your topic of discussion today, basically the fact that England has become sort of like a criminal country. I'm calling basically to put across my own personal experience. Well, not rather my own personal experience, but rather my mother's experience. She was assaulted 2 years ago quite badly by a group of kids, no younger than 15, 16 years old. And the kids who were arrested, two of them were arrested at the scene, and the police excuse was that the reason why they failed to do anything was because they were juveniles, and, you know, basically the court will not do anything to juveniles, and if they get arrested, they're not allowed to be, you know, held at the police station for, you know, longer than 24 hours or even for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So because of that being their excuse, you know, they failed to do anything. 2 years down the line, you know, I get a phone call on behalf of my mother, and it's the Metropolitan Police apologising that they failed to do anything.
2 years later?
2 years later. Believe it or not, it was only a couple of weeks ago that I received a phone call from the Metropolitan Police, being really apologetic. They've failed to do anything.
Why did they call you 2 years later?
Precisely my point. It's just like saying that... And the major problem is that these kids are still continuing to harass my mother at her workplace. You know, her windows got smashed twice, which cost her over £1,000 to get replaced. And one of the kids who were arrested, you know, again at the scene, the police said that basically the maximum he'll get will probably be community service order. You know, probably 100 hours community service order. And I just thought that's just absolutely ridiculous, because they said if they were going to do anything else, since he's a juvenile, 15 years of age, they can't really, you know, pose anything stronger, so that a stronger sentence.
Yeah, isn't that stupid? Well, the implication being, because he's so young, he doesn't know any better.
Precisely my point, exactly. And then again, my point to these, to the officer was that why aren't these kids at school? Why aren't the parents responsible? If they're juveniles and you can't do anything to stop them, why can't you go to the main source of the problem and, you know, go to their parents and say, well, your kid is 15 years old. Technically, he should be in school. He or she should be in school getting an education. Then 16 years old after, then yeah, if they commit a crime, then yeah, the police can arrest them and can sentence them accordingly. But whilst they're under 16 and the juveniles, it's down, you know, it's down to the parents to basically take necessary precautions in order to avoid for them to go out in the street and, you know, cause this kind of riot.
Right.
And the thing is, I threatened the police. I told them I would go to the local MP. I will make this a national thing, and I would tell the MP of how ridiculous the system is. That you guys, I mean, what they're doing is technically they're defending.
Well, they're encouraging it.
They're encouraging and they're defending.
Yes, yeah.
And what they're doing, they're actually scrutinising and putting down, you know, the victims. My mother was hospitalised for 2 weeks wearing a neck brace. She had bruised ribs, her engagement ring, her wedding ring, everything was stolen off her. Nothing was given back to her.
That I can't imagine how frustrating. That's not a sufficiently strong word. How incredibly annoying and how impotent you must feel in the face of this.
I don't even believe there's a word to describe how angry we felt. Not just myself, but as a family. You know, how angry we were that the police failed to do anything.
I mean, I'd want them dead, you know?
And the worst thing is that we can't do anything. As soon as we lay a single finger on them, well, we're going to get arrested.
Of course you will.
We're not juveniles.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, is that to say that, is it fair that any people, any children under the age of 16 can go out there attack people, assault people, break into their properties, break into their businesses. And
Yes,
get
essentially
away with
that's exactly what it means, because the state is reinforcing that behaviour. Because when the police do show up, the kids aren't frightened of the police anymore because they know that nothing's going to happen. And so no matter what they do, they just get a little light dusting of excitement to end the
because
evening.
they know they can't do anything. Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, the same kids who attacked my mother 2 years ago, they turned around and said, if the first time we assaulted you, the police didn't do anything, what makes you the second time they're going to do anything?
Yeah. Oh, the
And
3rd
that's
or the
exactly their
5th or the 20th. Yes, exactly. And then, a couple of years down the line, they'll kill someone.
Exactly.
And then
And then what are
may
they going
go
to do
to
if something
jail.
happens, to a member of, my own family, even put themselves, in my position? What are they going to do? Call me up and say, oh, by the way, I'm really sorry, to have heard that your mother passed away because she was attacked.
Did they explain why they called you up 2 years later?
They said that the only piece of evidence which was there was a CCTV footage of my mother being attacked.
Right.
They said they had lost the CCTV footage.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Even if they hadn't lost it, Shima, they still wouldn't have done anything because they would have said that it's inconclusive and it's not that clear and we can't really make anything out and blah, blah, blah. I know this.
Exactly.
Why they nailed all these cameras to posts, I have no idea, because they're all totally useless for actually solving
Every
crime.
single day they're putting cameras on, be it speed cameras or be it crime prevention cameras, but then they're not doing anything. Every single day you read the newspaper, there's all these crimes happening, and there's cameras all over the place. Literally, how many roads do you go on that you don't see a single camera on the road?
Yeah, what?
Crime prevention.
Exactly. But what are they? I think they're. Maybe ITV is in cahoots with the police, and they're all put them up there just to give the nightly news some exciting footage, because they're not actually helping prevent or solve crimes. Well, I'm really sorry that you're having this problem, and a pox on those who are causing it. And I hope that things get better from this moment. Thanks very much, Shima.
Thank you. Take
Cheers.
care. Bye.
It's kind of it just gets a bit wearying, really, and depressing, because we know what the right thing is. How come no one's doing the right thing? How come no one is doing the right thing? Honestly, I mean, I would really like an explanation to that, because everyone seems to be conspiring against doing the right thing.
Do you think that in their heads, however misguided they are, they think they are doing the right thing?
Who? The police and the courts? No, they can't, surely. I mean, they're intelligent human beings, just like the rest of us. They must know, just like the people who are doing it, by the way. They know they ain't doing the right thing either. Doesn't matter whether they're 11 or 10 or 5. You know what's right and what's wrong. And that you can't touch them because they're young. It's just stupid. It's getting annoying. Maybe I should have lightened it up with something else. I did try with aliens. No one bit. Not one single alien. Maybe we should do ghosts. Hey, have you seen the ghost? No. Just kidding. You can email me if you like. It's nick.abbott@lbc.co.uk. An email. You inquired about violent crime in the past. Here are some figures. Homicides in England per 100,000 people. Okay. The 16th century, 7. It's actually gone down massively, but then, as has the population charged up, so perhaps the figure per 100,000 people isn't a true reflection of what people's experience is. 7 per 100,000 people in the 16th century, then 5 in the 17th, and then it goes quite low. 18th century, 1.5, and then 1.7, 1.2, and around about now, 0.8. Violent crime. Oh no, homicides rather, in England, per 100,000 people. So I suppose that is a valid statistic, but that's not really what people's experience is.
Well, do you know someone's been murdered?
No, but I read about it all the time.
Not really the same thing, though, is it?
Well, yes, it is, because essentially reading about it does mean say I don't know him personally, but I know.
You don't read about all the murders that didn't happen.
Well, yeah, you do, because that's assaults. Like there was one in the paper today. You see, here, perfect example.
Hang on a minute, so you're either assaulted or murdered, there's nothing else?
In what sense?
Well, you're saying you haven't read about all the people that weren't murdered and they're assaulted.
Yeah.
Well, what about all the people that haven't been murdered or assaulted?
Well, we don't read about them because nothing's happened to them.
Exactly.
Exactly what?
Well, this is the vast number of good things, or not bad things.
We're not interested in good things.
Oh, sorry, I forget.
This is a news-based radio station. We don't do good things. Here's another perfect example. A teenager who punched a Church of England clergyman has walked free from court. Of course he has. Babul Islam, 19, and 2 other youths battered Canon Michael Ainsworth in his own churchyard. One of the thugs screamed, "Bleeping priest." Islam, a Sainsbury's shop assistant, well, not anymore, we hope, had pleaded guilty to assault occasioning actual bodily harm, but he denied religiously aggravating actual bodily harm, and his not guilty plea was accepted by the prosecution. Like it makes any difference why he did it. That's another thing that I don't get. As though a racial crime is any... if I hit someone because I hate them racially, or I just hate them, what's the difference? They still got hit. I don't understand that at all. Hate crimes. As though that's worse than the actual crime. That makes no sense to me. That's another tick-the-box thing. Oh, well, we've really cleared that up. It's just nonsense. Snaresbrook Crown Court in East London heard that moments before the attack, Canon Ainsworth, he's 57 years old, who was wearing his dog collar at the time, had politely asked Islam and his friends to quieten down, which, of course, sent them ballistic. He was disrespecting them. The attack was outside his own church, which had previously been a target for faith-hate incidents. Youths who congregate in the grounds of the church have smashed the windows of the church. On one occasion, a thug screamed, "This shouldn't be a church, it should be a mosque." Canon Ainsworth, a father of 4, suffered head injuries, 2 black eyes, cuts and bruises, spent 12 days in hospital. Islam of Limehouse... Now, OK, so what's the penalty for that, you think? How many years in prison for that? Have a wild stab in the dark. That's right, 0. Islam of Limehouse was given a 4-month jail sentence, suspended for 18 months. So, in other words, no punishment at all, except for 100 hours of community work, and he'll pay £1,000 in compensation. The message being, if you want to... he hit him in the face, and then they kicked him when he was on the ground, which sounds like attempted murder to me. Would that be fair? So you can try and kill a priest, and it'll cost you £1,000. You could have a whip round. I could get a bunch of you together, and you could go and do one every week. Yeah, it'll cost you £1,000 if you've got, like, 10 people together. Well, it's just like... I mean, that's pretty much what you'd pay for a night out at the pub. You could top it off for a quick attempted murder at the weekend. That's the message. Now, you're screwing your face up and you don't like it, but that's what I'm getting. The judge also accepted his defence that he was really drunk at the time. Hey, you know what? I've been really drunk, but I've never hit a priest. In fact, I've never hit anybody. It's not the drink, it's the people. Oh, well, I didn't know what I was doing, I was really drunk. Yeah, right. What are you drinking, by the way? I don't think, he was extremely drunk, this strict Muslim. Right, I get it. The judge told him, I accept this was out of character, given that you have no previous convictions. The offence is so serious that only custody can be justified. However, I'm not going to give it to you. Like I said, the whole world's gone crazy. Nothing makes sense to me anymore. Does it to you?
No.
No, not really, no. 8:44. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. And in Maida Hill, Harrow...
The whole world's gone crazy.
The old bag's right. Battersea. Hello, Aaron.
Hello there.
Aaron.
Right, these UFOs.
Yeah, the UFOs that I was talking about at the beginning of the show, yeah.
I think I know where they park them up during the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now, they've been studying us, and they realise that we're a very bunch of antisocial people, Earthlings. So what they do is, they park their ships on top of bus shelters, knowing everyone on top of the bus is either going to be reading the book, listening to MP3s, or playing with their phone.
Right.
And if you actually Google spiky things on London bus shelters, there's pictures of them as well.
Spicy things?
Spiky.
Oh, spiky.
Yeah, spiky things on London bus shelters.
All right, well, jump to it. Thanks for that, Aaron.
Okay.
It was an inside scoop. That's where they park up in the daytime, on top of a bus shelter, alongside a lone shoe and a glove. Who are these people that are walking around with only one shoe? Here's something else about UFOs. I didn't report this. This is by email. I didn't report this because my mum and I don't get together often, and we drank over 3 bottles of red wine between us. On the night of Saturday the 14th, June 2008, at 11 p.m, we saw bright orange streams of light over the Bay of Lydstep in Tenby, West Wales, whilst sat outside with a patio heater on. The patio heater? Guilty! We were so freaked out, we went to bed thinking we'd had too much to drink. Here we go, my mum said they're coming for us. However, we were quite surprised the next morning as we both recalled it vividly from Katie in Cardiff. That's not the first sighting in over Welsh Wales, right? And the others were Shropshire, and I can't remember whether they were, but sort of here, there and everywhere, baby. So what is this? Is it something that the Ministry of Defence are testing? Because you often see that the old sort of black and white footage of things that do look very like the comic creations of UFOs that they were testing in the 50s. I assume it was the 50s, 40s, 50s, something like that. They were seeing if they could actually fly these things. And that's what people were seeing. But it was just the American Defence Force that was trying these out. And other things are weather balloons and... well, then you start to run out. So what's going on here, then? And there seems to be an echoing silence from the authorities. Well, they're just trying to... I mean, if we were actually being visited, and the look on your face assumes that you don't believe a word of it, James, then they wouldn't tell us about it, would we? Because we'd all start freaking out. There'd be a run on gaffer tape and batteries. What we'd do with them, got no idea. And we'd also be, like Iron Maiden, running to the hills. We wouldn't be able to go on with life ordinarily if we knew we were actually being visited by green blobs from another planet. Things wouldn't be the same anymore, would they? In fact, the consequences of it are unimaginable, really. I mean, people would stop going to work.
It's not all bad, then.
Let's have Belsize Park. Judy.
Hello. I thought I might cheer you up slightly.
Go on.
The thing you've been talking about with children and under the age of criminal responsibility and so on. I must have been incredibly innocent when I had my children because, I mean, they're grown up, they're adults now, but I just assumed that I was responsible for whatever they did.
Right. Did they kill anybody, Judy?
Not as far as I know.
Oh, well done.
But that's good, isn't it? But I just thought if, for instance, they broke somebody's window,
Yes.
hopefully it would be accidental, not deliberate,
of course,
that I would be responsible for it. I would apologise, they would apologise, and I would pay for it.
Yeah, and
I didn't know that I wasn't that I actually wasn't responsible.
No, and you'd do the right thing, and you'd pay for it, as you say, instead of turning it into what you'd probably get these days in a scene from the Jeremy Kyle show, where everybody starts screaming and shouting, and it's my right to do this, and you're doing all that.
If I'd known all my rights, which I didn't, I mean, I could have sent them out stealing and doing all sorts of stuff, because nobody would have been responsible.
Judy, you could be a millionaire right now.
I could have sent them shoplifting. Would have been great. I had no idea that I wasn't actually responsible.
Yeah.
So I just thought, oh, whatever they do, it will be down to me and my husband to put it right.
Yes.
Until they're of an age where they would be held responsible.
A normal person would put it right, whether the law insists on it or not.
Well, as I say, I didn't know that. I didn't know what the law was because it was completely irrelevant. But as I say, had I known, wow. We could have been up to all sorts.
Well, maybe you should consider having some more kids, Judy.
Well, I've got grandchildren.
Well, there you go.
But unfortunately, they're being brought up the way I brought up my children, so it ain't going to work.
If at first you make a mistake, then you're probably going to continue making it, eh?
Yes.
All right, thanks for that, Judy.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, ta-da. Let's have Bermondsey. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, good evening.
Hello, Peter.
Yeah, the case you was just talking about, I gather it was, one might term a race or a religious attack on the priest.
Well, no, they said that they were not guilty of that it was... He says, I'm not guilty of it being a racially motivated attack. But to my mind, that has no relevance at all.
Well, transpose the situation. Just transpose the situation and you're dead right. Now, the point is with this, to my knowledge of law, that was what's known as ABH.
You got a cuckoo clock?
Yeah.
It's a bit off, mate. It's 8 minutes to.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I bought it in Germany, you see.
Oh, well, you want to get the Swiss ones. Much more accurate.
But now, to my knowledge, ABH, which is what affected onto that vicar, that is 7 years. And I believe GBH was, or still is, 10 or 14. So, and I think, judges generally, they are a law unto themselves, aren't they? It's how they want to interpret it.
Yeah, how they feel that day.
Yeah. Now, Philip earlier was talking about the noise. Now, I get an equation with the weather. Now, when the temperature goes above 70 degrees, a lot of women, I'm glad to say, leave their bras at home. Yeah? And consequently, you get this same level with people with their music.
Right.
Open go the windows.
Judith Chalmers leaves her pants at
Well,
home.
there you go. Yeah. And you've got mobile cars going along and dump, dump,
yeah.
dump, don't they? Total morons. And I think this is what happens. As nature produces geniuses, it also produces morons. And I think these morons, their whole ambition of life is to aggravate others. And I think they're very successful in that. And I've got a pal, and her sons can do no wrong. If she was to see them kill somebody in front of her eyes, she says it's the other person's fault for being there.
Mm.
And just a light note, misappropriation of England. Nick, I know you was talking about it, but there is an advert.
Misappropriation?
Yes, there is an advert on the television. It's for ambulance chasing. It's an absolute classic. I'm trying to quote verbatim. It goes, "The forklift reverse without looking." Now, surely these vehicles have to have somebody on it so that it actually moves, doesn't it? So it's the operator that actually reverse without looking, not that the vehicle did it without somebody on board.
Yeah, and that's the Mysterons
that's
taking
right.
it over. Yeah.
And also, you do, thankfully on LBC, the women have stopped doing it. But when a lorry breaks down on the motorway, it says the lorry is changing its wheel. Now, I don't think there's any lorries about that can actually change a wheel, is it? It's actually being changed for it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's right. You have to get a man in, yeah.
Yeah, and likewise, there's some people in Lake Garda who they think have got salmonella poisoning.
Yeah, that's right, that lovely hotel, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, and the chap who was reporting it said this was a favourite hotel of Winston Churchill because he used to paint the lake. Now, you can't paint a lake, can you? Yes.
You could try, Peter, but you'd get wet.
The misappropriation of English.
Right, I got it.
Okay, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Good night.
0845 6060 973. No, he's absolutely right about that. You can't paint a lake any more than you could paint the town pink. Oh, somebody tried to paint their house pink. Or they objected to it. This is a completely unimportant story, but I'll just say it anyway. A director of Ipswich Town Football Club has been told to paint her picturesque £1 million home pink to make it match a nearby property. She's very upset about it. She received a letter telling her that a Grade 1 listed whitewashed house in Suffolk must be Suffolk pink. The businesswoman says that there's no rhyme or reason for the decree from Babberg District Council and accused the council of attempting to turn the medieval village into Disney World. Well, you see, occasionally councils will come up with really irritating directives like this, but it's not so irritating when you think how delightfully lovely Italy looks. Have you been to Italy lately? Mamma mia, it's gorgeous. The parts that you see are beautiful because they have insisted that you can only paint your house in one of about 5 Edinburgh Rock-style pastel colours, which is why it looks so unutterably lovely from wherever you might be standing. And people don't put blooming pebble dash up on the front of their houses, or paint them black, or any of this other nonsense that is unlovelifying our green and pleasant land. So paint your house pink, dear, and shut up.
Do you think pebble dash ever looks good?
No. What were we thinking? Pebble dash is hideous. There can be no less lovely cladding to a house than pebble dash. It's like somebody sprayed your driveway up your house. It's horrible. And the only thing you can do is scrape it off, which is a laborious and horrible task, or just paint it white and hope that people don't notice. But grey pebble dash, there can't be a more hideous covering to any house anywhere. I'm right about that.
As always.
A text, a bit harsh, but if a kid can't behave in society, they should be removed. That surely would teach them and their parents. Tough on crime? I don't think so. Yes, thoughts of that nature, or indeed anything else you like, I'd be happy to lighten it up on the usual numbers. This is LBC.
Okay.
Hey, there's some late news about Cher. I was talking about Cher a little earlier on. A chap called Calvin Hutton Hoffland from Nashville, Tennessee, charged with disorderly conduct and public intoxication after he repeatedly harassed the singer-actress at the town's famous Tootsie's Orchid Lounge. Isn't that great that, there's something wrong with my... Every time 9 o'clock comes around, I get, acid reflux. Oh, it's gone.
Cup of tea's coming.
Ah, I had assumed that was what was doing it. But it hasn't arrived yet, and I still want to, belch. Police said the 36-year-old tried to make contact with Cher early this morning, this was a day or so ago, and was asked to leave the club. Tootsie's Orchid Lounge. Where will you find Cher? At Tootsie's. He complied, officers said, but returned a short time later and grabbed the star by the waist as she sat in a roped-off area of the lounge. He was escorted from the bar but returned again, and when security blocked his attempts to approach Cher, Hoffland called the police to say that he had been insulted, of course. Then it gets strange. Police said that Cher declined to prosecute, but Hoffland asked to be arrested. He then failed a self-requested sobriety test. They ain't getting any smarter, are they? Here is Suffolk. Hello, Alan.
Oh, hello, Nick. Am I on? Yes?
It sounds like you.
Yeah, thank you very much. What was I going to say? Yes, Suffolk. Internet radios are wonderful things, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes.
I've just had a glass of red wine like you had with your mum. You know, very nice.
No, that wasn't my mum. That was an email from somebody else.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking to you. I'm a sort of retired civil servant, servant of the Queen and all that stuff. And
yeah.
It does worry me that, I'll tell you what the ordinary people of this country think. And I think, we worry about terrorists and they're bad enough, but we beat ourselves up from within, don't you, with all this crime business. Why do we convict the victims? You wouldn't have it in Singapore. They wouldn't have a place of Singapore. They'd sort them out straight away.
Well, you don't even have to go somewhere as exotic as Singapore. America would do it for
wherever,
you.
But we keep beating ourselves up from within. All we have to do is sort it. You'd only have to have a few instances of sorting these people, and you wouldn't have it again if they got the message.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you see, we're not so different, really, to dogs in the way in which we react to either encouragement or punishment.
Mm.
And if you continue to or disregard behaviour that is outside the norm, that is not acceptable to society, you are, in effect, reinforcing that behaviour. If you let your dog go on the kitchen floor and you don't do anything about it, then it's going to think, well, that's perfectly normal, I'll just continue doing this.
It's almost worse. It's almost saying the government is worse than the terrorists. I mean, that's a terrible thing to say. I don't believe it. I think most government, I'm sure most MPs are really decent people, but it just looks like that. Do you know what I mean? It just looks like that's what's happening.
They're by their inaction, they're encouraging the behaviour.
Exactly.
Yes.
What do they say? It's only for good men to do nothing, for evil to flourish. That's
correct.
A statement, isn't it?
That's right.
And that's exactly what's happening. And it will go on and on and on. It will get worse and worse. Come on, let's stop it now.
It's not as though it's a great leap, really. I mean,
it's not.
And it's not as though you'd have to persuade the population to do it. They're clamouring for it.
You only have to stop it a few times. Say, look, pack it in. We'll back you up. We'll back you up. You, personally, you member of that, we'll back you up. And that's all that's got to happen. Don't do it.
Yeah, there's I can't argue with that, of course not.
It's so simple.
It is, to you it's simple, to me it's simple, but to the people that are actually got their hands on the reins of power, it seems an impossible leap.
Well, the ordinary people of England are getting very, very fed up with this. And I'm really sorry about it that we had to destroy this country. I really do.
All right, thanks a lot, Alan.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
But the odd thing is, I mean, as we talk about this, and we sort of stir ourselves into the place where we've got to lock them up and we've got to put more people in prison and sterner sentences and blah blah blah. And you have to stop yourself and think, well, hang on a minute, we already do that. We already put more people in prison per head of population than almost any other country in the world. What on earth is going on here? So either the problem is only being reported more because of the greater availability of information in this internet age and the newspapers that we've got that are concentrating on it, because in the absence of Princess Di, there isn't one figure, now that David Beckham has left the country particularly, that they can guarantee will increase circulation. And they're all a bit desperate at the minute because there is the steady downwards slope to their readership levels of almost every newspaper. It just keeps on going down. They're looking at an abyss in the face. So they've got to come up with something that they know is a guaranteed seller. And they seem to be all going the way of the Daily Mail, whose mode of operations is find something to frighten the readership with. Give them an enemy. In fact, I think that was the very phrase that the first editor of the Daily Mail positioned his paper. Give them an enemy. Give them someone to, like a hate figure, or a fear figure. So maybe it's just that they're reporting it more. Because if somebody gets beaten up in Nottingham or Birmingham, I'm sure it happens all the time. It happened all the time 10 years ago and 20 years ago. It's just that we didn't know about it because they weren't all over it. Because a local newspaper in Nottingham wasn't allied to the national newspaper in London, and so those stories are just being cherry-picked. Whereas before, more important fare was reported on, like international affairs. Now, news has become, like it was when I first went to America in the early 80s, a list of recent deaths and attacks in your area, because they've figured that that's actually what sells. People aren't really remotely interested in what's going on in Africa. They don't really care about privations in Russia. None of that really bothers them. They're much... it's almost as though we like reading about it. It's become another form of entertainment. We whip ourselves up into a bit of a moral, a righteous indignation. We have a bit of a rant, and then we'll go back to doing whatever it is we do, having a fag and looking out the window, and dreaming of this sort of fantasy ye olde England that never actually existed.
It's the same as celebrity tittle-tattle, though, isn't it? We all moan about it, but
I missed it this week.
Reading it.
I missed it this week. Who was on? Celebrity Tittle-Tattle? Is that a show on Channel 4?
It should be. Give it a week, it will be.
Yeah, nude celebrity tittle-tattle. Coming up next, new celebrity tittle-tattle on Channel 4. Okay. It's popular. Hello, Andy.
Hiya, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Yeah, flags get furled.
Pardon? Oh, flags furled, yes,
Flags
you're
get
absolutely
furled,
right. Yeah,
yes.
you're right.
And unfurled, obviously.
Yeah.
But you mentioned before about NACRO. I said, I'm not sure what it is.
Yes.
But my experience in NACRO was about 15 years ago. A group of people I was working with, and some of them were on the scheme. I think it just started then.
Yeah, remind us what it is.
Well, it's basically for rehabilitation of criminals.
Okay.
Of sort of minor criminals.
Yeah.
And they made a huge mistake because they assumed that they were all poor, underprivileged, sick people.
Yeah.
And they weren't. They were anything but. They were actually highly intelligent and wrapped them around their little finger and got paid huge amounts of money for doing absolutely nothing.
What, the crims were highly intelligent?
Yeah. It's something that people don't often think about, is that criminals are... Some of them are very, very intelligent. I mean, I remember my maths teacher years ago saying to our class, right, we're doing this thing, right, who doesn't understand it? We don't. Okay, if you put a bet on, right, 2-1 at this, 5-1 at that, 8-2 at this, blah blah blah, and you put £10 on at the beginning, what we get at the end, and they came back straight away with the answer.
Right.
And they said, right, you're not unintelligent. You can do maths. You've just done very, very complicated maths. And he went, what? I said, this is what you've done. And they drew it out on the board, and he went, I said, the difference is, what you've done is you know it, and you apply it.
Want to get that? You got it? Well done. He just lost him. He forgot that he was talking on the radio there for a moment. He's a nice fella, but he just, a bit of pub talk came out there for a moment. Never mind, Andy. Better luck next time. Yes, essentially he's right. They're evil geniuses. Or not, as the case may be. Shall we take a left turn and talk about teeth?
Whose?
Everybody's. We could also talk about complaints. I don't know whether to get into that, because people might complain. Or school dinners. School dinners could be allied with teeth, couldn't they? It's, this is on everybody's mind as well. School dinners, the Blessed Jamie, apparently had absolutely no effect whatsoever. Well, in fact, the reverse of that which was intended. And I believe that this is all Gordon's fault as well. Thousands of schools may be forced to close their canteens because of rising food prices and a sharp fall in the number of children choosing the healthy school meals inspired by the Blessed Jamie. A report by the local authority Caterers Association said that ministers had failed to pay for the healthy meals introduced after the television campaign by the celebrity chef. Now, I remember I watched that programme, and he went and spoke to Tony Blair. He had a little chat on camera on that balcony that he's got overlooking his pleasant garden at number 10 Downing Street. And Tony looked all concerned for the camera and said that he was going to do it, and Jamie Oliver came away with a cast-iron guarantee of an actual monetary amount. And I can't remember exactly how much it was, so I'll make it up. £238 million. I bet it wasn't too far off. But what they say they're going to do and what they actually do, often not connected. Oh, I'm right up against a break. I'll come back. 9:15. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thank you, Nick. Still a closure on Harrow Road in Maida Hill. That's...
Absolutely.
Here's the Docklands. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, Nick.
Jessica.
I was listening to what you were saying about the local newspapers.
Yeah.
Sort of, getting everybody going, really. I also think that, I love the local newspaper.
Do you?
Yeah, definitely. I think as much as you want to keep in touch with what's happening everywhere in the world, you do ultimately only really care about what's round your corner. And I think the local newspaper that I get in Sheffield, the Sheffield Star, is like a legend of a newspaper. It's almost the perfect newspaper, really, because they do sort of know what to deliver to the local audience. And they don't ignore what's happening elsewhere in the country or even the world, but they know their priorities.
But what do they report? Is it just crime and... It
depends. Sometimes they'll put a very heavy sort of, somebody, got murdered in so-and-so place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's shocking story, and it's got a sort of the same kind of impact as a national story would.
Yeah.
But equally, they will put on there that, so-and-so's been awarded a medal for good service on the front page, right there on the front page.
I bet they don't sell a single copy.
No, honestly, they sell loads of copies because they are giving people local information about what's happening around them. And, obviously some people aren't bothered, but I think a lot of people, if you asked them if they wanted to know, what was happening around their corner, especially if they thought they could do something about it.
Is anything actually happening in Sheffield to warrant having its own newspaper?
Well, Sheffield's the fourth biggest city in the country.
Yeah.
There's loads of things happening.
Is that an answer to my question?
Sheffield is going through a cultural revolution, really.
Have they got any?
Of course they have. I think in one of these recent surveys that I never really believed, but I think Sheffield came second as the most influential city for music.
Oh, please.
Only after Liverpool. London was like 5 or 6 or something.
Well, that's just nonsense.
Well, no, it's not.
Who's come from Sheffield?
Arctic Monkeys, Joe Cocker, Def Leppard, Jarvis Cocker, Richard Hawley. Loads of quite influential bands have come from. Anyway, I'm not calling up to defend Sheffield.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that I think people are still interested in local news, and your local newspaper does deliver that to you. But I don't think your local TV station does. You know, the local sort of calendar or London Tonight.
Yes.
That features local news, but it's just not interesting.
Well,
they really are. I think it's okay to read about it in your own time, but to actually be presented with it with somebody on the TV, it's a bit more kind of, there's no point to it.
Well, the problem with London local news is that, and I feel it's absolutely true. Here's my guess. The people on the national news don't talk to the people who do the local news because they're beneath them.
Yeah.
We don't talk to those people.
Yeah, it's like a second cousin twice removed.
Exactly.
Hang on
a minute. So, I think the problem that the London local news programmes have is that the national news, because it's based on London and much that's important to the country happens in London, will do the same story that the local news are covering, and so you'll have the national news throwing tons of money at this story, and then the local news will do the exact same story moments after you've seen it on the national news. But they didn't know that they were going to do it, you see.
Well, I think all those local news programmes, they do start with kind of national news, but then they quickly move on to local news. And really, they're missing a trick, because they could make it very interesting, but inevitably they make it quite boring. And that's a shame. You know, I think that a local newspaper is very good, but I'd do away with the local TV stations. I think they're just a waste of time.
Well, I think that it's a factor that there isn't really such a thing as journalism anymore. It's just reprinting of PR press releases.
Definitely.
And so you'd be able to fill a newspaper that covers the nation with, little bits and bobs. But a local newspaper, well, I mean, no wonder they always go on to village fetes and all that.
No, they don't necessarily do that. I mean, I think that the Sheffield Star informs people about what's happening in Sheffield, and a lot of people are quite interested in that. But it doesn't really, it's got no chance of kind of breaking a massive story like one of the national newspapers would. But it's doing quite well in its own little way, and I think there is a place for that. Whereas with the local news, not only are they boring stories, the only interesting thing is watching the presenters that are quite obviously just using it as an audition to get onto a sort of national.
Well, yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, like the national news rather than the local news.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting to see that going on. But apart from that, I think local news needs to be delivered in print form. And it's a good thing that it still is.
Well, not for very much long, I wouldn't think, Jessica. They're in dire straits, because not only are the national newspapers selling much less than they used to, but I think local newspapers are hurting even more. And, of course, much of their, or rather much more of their income depends on advertising, which has all been taken away by the internet, particularly. And now the BBC have announced that they're going to be doing local internet video news appropriate to their individual transmission areas, which will further undermine the local newspapers.
Yeah, but I do think, especially when the BBC does things like that, it's almost like it's saying, we're spending your licence fee on this. You know, we're giving you something back. But nobody's really interested in that. The only decent thing with the BBC is their iPlayer, which is fantastic.
Right, haven't tried it yet.
It's really good.
OK, thanks, Jessica.
All right, then.
Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. Yeah, I was talking about, what's the story that you gave me here? Oh, The Sopranos. OK, I might get to that later. Yes, thousands of schools may be forced to close their canteens because of rising food prices. Did you ever used to have for school dinners? I did. They were revolting. But the one thing that we didn't have was a choice. Whatever it was that day, that's what you had. And you shut up, and you ate it, and you didn't get up until you'd finished. Which is why, at an early age, we all used to go outside for, the exact same thing that kids are eating these days. A bag of chips and a fag. However, in those days, we used to run about a bit more, which is now against the law, because they've sold off all of the playing fields. Actually, that's not the reason why people are overweight in this country. Kids aren't overweight in this country because they sold off the playing fields, because they don't use them anyway. I mean, how often do you get phys ed in school, or whatever they call it, PE? Like 1 hour a week, something like that. They're certainly not out there for an hour a day, are they? You might get 2 hours a week, no more than that. So the lack of that exercise, even if you took away every playing field from every school in the land, it wouldn't really make that much difference. Walking to school rather than being driven in a tank by your mum, that might make a difference. It's exercise every day in small increments will make you fitter. Not running about desperately panting and puffing for half an hour, which is essentially what you do in a 1 hour PE lesson, isn't it? 15 minutes to get changed, 15 minutes to being shouted at by the master, stand over there, do this, do that, and a half an hour, at most, of trying to avoid the ball coming anywhere near you. If you were me. Standing at the very edge of the pitch, desperately hoping that no one would see you. Until I got the message from the lads that the best thing to do, of course, is just not show up at all. And if you don't show up at all, then after a while you can't turn up because the PE master won't know who you are. He expects you not to be there because he's never seen you before. So it's not the playing fields that's the problem, it's the fact that they eat too much. And that's that. Oh, there's another thing about that, the pill that they've just announced. I might come on to that in a minute. So thousands of schools may be forced to close their canteens because of rising food prices and the sharp fall in the number of children choosing the healthy school meals inspired by Jamie Oliver. A report by the local authority Caterers Association said ministers had failed to pay for the healthy meals introduced after the television campaign by the celebrity chef. So, in other words, they're saying that while the cameras were rolling, they said, well, we fully support you and we'll give you all of this money and blah, blah, blah. And as soon as the cameras were clicked off and the lights were turned off and everybody left, they had a good laugh about that and said, well, they actually bought that. What a bunch of mugs. In a letter to Ed Balls, the school secretary, seriously, if your name is Balls, call yourself Edward, because it draws the eye off the word balls, right? Ed Balls, I mean, all you see is balls. Am I right? Ed Balls, the school secretary, the association said in a letter to Ed Balls, the association said the school meal service was nearing collapse, as most canteens had become like restaurants with no customers, as children opted to eat the junk food they prefer. Well, of course they would. That's why you don't give kids a choice, right? Oh, no, but that would be abusing their human rights. Some sort of wet, lily-livered nonsense, they'd say. Ministers promised to improve school meals after the Blessed Jamie's Channel 4 series showed that pupils were regularly being fed chips and turkey Twizzlers. The show found that as little as 40 pence per head was spent on ingredients. He called for high-quality food rather than reheated junk to be cooked by trained dinner ladies on school premises. And you got that shouty Irish woman who was the star of the show, and it was entertaining watch. Because you thought, well, he's actually doing something. Isn't that great? I mean, Jamie Oliver, he's got no end of money. He must have 50 million quid in the bank. He doesn't have to do any of this. He could just put a brand of sauces on the shelf in Sainsbury's and put his feet up and smoke a cigar for the rest of his life. Here, do you know who's making more money than any other celebrity chef? This is really annoying.
Ramsay?
No. Not even close.
If you say Ainsley Harriott, I'm going to...
Well, yes, I think I'd throw myself out the window if it was Ainsley Bloomin' Harriott. No. It's almost as annoying. It's one less annoying than Ainsley Harriott. The celebrity chef, or the person who does cooking for a living that is making more money than any other person who does cooking for a living in this country, is Anthony Worrell Thompson.
What?
How does he manage that?
He sells all those saucepans.
Well, there's no end of stuff that all of these people sell. And you know who's second? It's a bloke who isn't even really a chef. Well, he's not known for chefing. He's known for his strangulated vowel sounds. Who would live in a house like this? That bloke. He's coining in about 30 million quid a year. From sources.
We've got to get into the sauce business.
Well, I know. What a bunch of mugs we are. 250,000 fewer secondary pupils had school lunch this year compared with 2 years ago, a decline of 17%, and all because they're serving them food that is actually healthy to eat, instead of, chickens, bottoms and cow lips with chips. Oh, the smell of it. It's revolting. But that's what the kids love, which is why you should never give them a choice. LBC 97.3. The hitter, Vicar. It's Clive Bull.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm not bad at all, thank you. Going to be here from 10.
Are you?
Yes, I am, as always. And you're going at 10, aren't you?
Oh, what blessed relief.
Well, for you, obviously.
Yes.
So, yes, what's been your hot topic so far tonight, then?
Oh, crime and punishment. The country's going to hell in a handbag. Aliens, of course.
Is it all the youth of today's fault?
Oh, I would think so, yeah.
Yeah. And aliens, yes.
Can you believe that The Sun was the only newspaper to have that important story?
Is this the story of the UFO sightings, or is this another alien?
No, there are further UFO sightings.
Yeah,
because all this
yes.
week, people have been popping up saying, I know this is going to sound crazy, but... And they aren't the usual, it's not a...
nutters.
Yes, exactly, yes, they're not complete nutters. They are upstanding members of the community. And all this kind of happened on the same night, more or less, but in different parts of the country. And some saw giant spaceships on the ground, and some saw 13 of them zigzagging in space, and, all sorts of stuff is going on. And I'm kind of surprised that, because... all this kind of little things that we get exercised about on a daily basis, the prices are going up and the fuel is going up and the houses are going down and all this sort of nonsense, it doesn't actually affect our lives as much as if we were being visited by aliens from another planet.
Yeah.
There is no bigger story on Earth.
Well, you would have thought so, but I don't know. I mean, what has happened? You used to be able to just say the word aliens... and your switchboard would light up.
I'm kind of surprised about
very
that.
concerned,
yeah.
but it hasn't.
I haven't tested the other one because if when in doubt, if you're a talk show host, there's three things. If you're so desperate for a call that you can't go on another minute to throw out, and it will usually make the phone lines burst into flames. And one is, have you seen an alien? And I've got almost no response whatsoever.
Oh dear.
The second
I
is...
think people maybe don't care about aliens anymore. They, we've just accept they're all out there now.
No, I don't think that we do. I mean, I don't. I would have to assume that there's got to be another explanation. Because if you were a highly evolved species from another planet, well, you wouldn't be caught on radar, would you? You wouldn't have some 19-year-old squaddy snap you on his mobile phone. You'd have cloaking devices or...
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're, like, teenage aliens... come down to just show themselves to bemused people in the countryside and then disappear to make them
then
feel
Daddy
like...
Alien says, stop mucking around down
exactly. Stop torturing those people. Yeah.
You're winding them up again,
exactly.
aren't you?
They've
You
got
come
enough to
back.
think about, yes.
Yeah, well...
I blame the alien parents.
Yes, that's exactly right. So, well, I don't know. I think maybe everyone just accepts, yes, there are aliens there, and the government aren't telling us, and we all know that now.
No, I don't think we do.
No.
You're not saying that, believing that, are you?
Well, I'm just I'm trying to work out what the public psyche is on this, because we seem to be settled about this now, but people aren't concerned. I'd like to know, if I was going to mention this later on, much later on, maybe after midnight.
Right, well, I'll do it in the next 25 minutes to completely ruin it for you.
But there is talk that there should be some sort of proper government investigation now. Because,
are they doing that?
Well, no, not really. There's sort of logging things, but there's certainly no open investigation.
Oh, well, there's no open government anything, is there? We only wheedle a piece of information by accident out every now and again that escapes the shredding machine.
I think there should be some sort of green paper on aliens.
Does it have to be green?
Well, I think it has to be green and then it becomes white, doesn't it? Something like that.
Much like an alien.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, aliens I may be talking about. What were the other two top... there's
Have you seen a ghost?
Have you seen a ghost, yes.
And should we legalise marijuana?
Yeah, I don't like talking about have you seen a ghost, because a lot of people feel they have seen a ghost.
Crazy people.
But they all say the same thing, really, which is, Grandad appeared at the end of my bed.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
But possibly they were... on medication at the time.
Or he wasn't dead at the time.
Yeah. Okay, what's your third top guaranteed surefire hit subject then?
Are you listening to this show? I said it.
No.
Should we legalise marijuana?
Oh, that one? Oh, really? No, I wasn't thinking that one at all. Oh, right. No, I didn't think that was your third. I would go for capital punishment every time.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, there's 4. Yeah, you're right. Should we legalise capital punishment for people who smoke marijuana?
Yes, who've seen ghosts.
Or should you get stoned before you put the noose around the perp's neck?
Is that why people believe in aliens and are seeing ghosts? Is because they're on marijuana and they should be shot for it.
That's right, yeah.
That would cover all the bases.
It would,
it?
yeah.
So we'll talk about that. You've been talking about the police and crime and punishment.
Yeah, I'm going to go and see the police this weekend.
Are you?
Yeah.
I saw them on video at the
Isle of Wight Festival. Yeah, how were they?
Good.
Yeah, I'm not
Well, Sting looked very good. You know, he looks like,
Yeah, he
very
does all
well
that,
kept.
He's bendy.
He's bendy.
He does all that yoga
and toned and although the others all look knackered.
Yes, especially Andy Summers.
Yeah,
I saw him in. I think he's about the only famous person I've ever been in a room with. It was in a restaurant in New Orleans, or Narlands, as they say, and I just happened to be in there, and it was like, psst, hey, that's that bloke from the police over there, and he just winked at me. He's like, all right, mate. Because he must get that all the time.
Yeah,
famous people.
So no, I was thinking of the other police, and
no, I won't be seeing them this weekend. Hopefully,
well, you never know, do you?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Apparently, they're getting some nice new uniforms.
Are they?
So we might talk about uniforms tonight as well.
What? Nice new uniforms.
Yeah. Well,
they're going to maybe something that's not nylon.
No, that's what I was going to say. They're going to be 100% polyester.
Oh,
yeah, black polyester shirt, lovely. In this nice weather.
Black shirts?
Yeah, black shirt. Well, I think this is to go over there.
I think the government has gone a bit too far. We've got black shirts on the street now.
I think it's to go over their body armour or something.
Right.
But there is a list of their new uniform. It doesn't sound very nice.
Because if it was a white shirt, you'd see the body armour underneath. It'd be like their version of a visible panty line.
Yes, quite. Yeah, so, I don't know. Have you ever had to wear a uniform? Had to wear a uniform.
Oh, I see. Had to. Right. Okay. A school uniform.
Oh, yeah.
There you
school
are. You
uniform.
see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, the uniforms, and we might talk about going naked as well.
The ultimate not wearing a uniform.
Yes, quite. The very opposite.
Well, who's going naked?
Well, it's an opportunity for you to try out naturism. Have you heard about that?
It was very big in Germany.
Is it? Yeah, well, yes, I could imagine it being big in Germany. Don't mention the football.
No, they're crazy about naturism in Germany. Well, they always have been.
Yeah, and I think we're the reverse.
Well, it's just so comical, isn't it? People wandering about with their wobbly bits out.
Just not very nice to look at,
Well,
really.
no. It's not very British.
No, it's not very British, and I think it should all be covered up, personally.
And people like Judith Chalmers should start talking about going commando. That's not what we want. Yeah, absolutely. You know Judith Chalmers.
Oh, yes, I heard about this, yeah. Yeah, that's not what you want to...
Well, exactly,
It's not a mental image that I wanted to leave this room with.
Well, first of all, Valerie Singleton was talking about hot Blue Peter panting action with, what's it? And, then Judith Chalmers tells us she shouldn't wear a pair of pants for the entire 30 years that she did Wish You Were Here.
Oh,
neither of those two things we actually wanted to know.
No, I didn't want to know that.
No.
Did you know that Valerie Singleton, in a way, was your predecessor?
What?
Yeah, in this slot on LBC.
You're kidding?
Yeah.
Valerie Singleton did a show on LBC.
Yeah, well, 2 shows to be precise, and then she'd had enough of it. She did this slot. She lasted 2 days, I think it was.
You're kidding?
No. And then I think possibly well, it didn't work out.
When was that?
Oh, I don't know. It's all a blur, really. It must have been about 10 years ago, maybe a bit more than that.
Right.
Yeah. I think she'd been expecting the kind of setup that you get maybe at the home service.
Oh, what, with 15 people working on your show, that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. A lot of people are shocked.
Yes, it's a bit different working at for a government-led organisation.
People come in from other organisations, they say, well, who's the script writer?
Yeah, where are all my people? No, there aren't any people, it's just you.
Yes, quite. Anyway, I've got to go now.
All right. There he is, very
Thanks
good.
very much.
If only you could stay, but he can't. Clive Bull, after the news at 10 o'clock. The number here is 0845 6060 973. Of course, the end of the world will be occurring shortly. So don't make any long-term plans. And this has been predicted for such a long time that people are actually making concrete plans in order to meet the end of the world, or to be in a state of readiness when it occurs. You're looking at me with that face again.
Well, it's just we've sort of built up to the end of the world this evening.
Yes.
It's not very cheerful.
Well, it's like REM said, it's the end of the world and I feel fine. Or something like that.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, I'm going to go see the Police this weekend, and it's like, not tremendously excited about that, because of all the bands that were great and are coming back now, I think they're way down on the list, because they had some jolly tunes, right enough, and they're all ones that you can sing along with, but not that exciting, right? Led Zeppelin, on the other hand, I mean, if they were playing Hyde Park Festival, you wouldn't be able to get within 10 miles of it. People would be vaulting the fence and killing each other to get in. The Police, not so much. Eric Clapton on Sunday, though. Quite looking forward to that. God himself will be making an appearance right in Hyde Park. Anyway, all of that will be happening before the end of the world, which is going to be on December the 21st, 2012.
Ready to buy Christmas presents, then?
No, that's right, yes. In how many years' time? That's 6 years' time. You need not plan for Christmas. Thousands of Dutch people are buying boats and rations and building bunkers to await an apocalypse predicted by the Mayan civilization of South America. Belying their country's laid-back image, many are convinced that a world catastrophe will occur on December the 21st, 2012. And I think we're back where we were before with the Dutch.
Want to score some pot?
Petra Fail and her husband have bought a life raft and other survival equipment in preparation for Armageddon. In another 4 years, it'll all be over. Is it 4 years? Oh, yeah, it's 4 years. And I'm doing those mathematical 30-second puzzlers that they put in newspapers in order to make myself less stupid. I couldn't even take 8 from 12. Well, I'm under a great amount of pressure here. In another 4 years, it'll all be over, she says. She believes that... Get this. Maybe I should do the break and then come back, because her revelation is worth waiting for. It's 9:44 and a quarter. LBC Travel with Alan Joyce.
Thank you, Nick. Still a couple of closures.
Thank you!
I don't know why the Dutch are concerned about this, but it seems to be that's the only country that is taking action. The Mayan civilization predicted the end of the world December the 21st, 2012. Very specific. And they asked some woman who's with her husband has bought a life raft and other survival equipment in preparation for this Armageddon. In another 4 years, it'll all be over, she said. She believes that immigration may be pushing the Netherlands, a low-lying country protected by dikes and seawalls, beneath the waves. Her explanation: they keep letting people in, and then we have to build more houses, which makes the Netherlands heavier. And makes it sink even lower, which will make the flooding worse. That is brilliant, isn't it? All these people coming in is making the Netherlands heavier.
You can get 2 Daily Mailisms into that. You can explain global warming and the rising oceans and immigration.
I mean, I suppose... I mean, is it so ludicrous, or is there... not the immigration part, but just that if you loaded a lot of heavy things onto the Netherlands, would it actually sink? I suppose logically it would, at a certain weight.
But the countries aren't floating on water. You'd be deforming the entire structure of the Earth.
Yes. Well, don't tell me. Tell her.
We'll get her on the phone. I'll tell her.
As December the 21st, 2012 approaches, the Mayan calendar has assumed new significance for some, who believe that humanity is creating ecological disasters and needs to learn from ancient wisdom. The Mayan civilization is celebrated for its advanced writing, maths, astronomy that flourished in about 300 AD. And its calendar has predicted that 2012 is the day. And a lot of popular books, such as Apocalypse 2012, A Scientific Investigation into Civilization's End, and 2012, The Return of... a word I can't pronounce, Quetzalcoatl. anecdotal have spawned a global movement of people who are predicting that that's the date. Write it in your diary, December the 21st, 2012. Of course, if you write it in your diary, you'll have to take it over every time you change a new diary for the next 4 years. Just write it on December the 21st and remind yourself when you buy a new diary to put it in for the following year, and that way you won't forget. You'll never be surprised. Just don't take out any savings accounts or anything like that. Don't get locked in to a long-term savings account. Spend all your money now is the best advice. Just go out, go crazy. Cheem, hello, Sue.
Hello. You know what? It's absolutely typical. The world's going to end in 4 years. I'm planning to retire in 5 years. I've put everything in place, got it all sorted out. You know, when can you ever get a break in this world?
I know,
I don't understand it.
You needn't have bothered, eh?
That's what I'm thinking. I think I might go out and have a spend-up. But I haven't got it yet because it doesn't come to fruition until 2013.
Well,
and that's my endowment coming to an end.
There was method in their madness. That's why they picked that date, probably.
I think you're right. I cannot believe it. When you said the world's going to end, I thought, well, that's just my blooming luck. God hates me. What can I say?
All right, thanks, Sue.
Bye, love.
Yes. If only we knew when it was going to end, we could go crazy, because it might end tomorrow. You just don't know, do you? And we're scrimping and saving and worrying about bills and can we afford orange juice and I better leave the car parked because the bus is cheaper and all that nonsense, whereas we could just go out and be going berserk. We could be competing with Roman Abramovich to buy works of art. We could pool all our money together and usurp him, because he expects to get everything he wants now, right? I bet it was him or one of his chums who bought that Monet water lilies thing. And they had a woman on a mobile phone at the front of the auction house with a big smile on her face. Well, it's not her money. The bloke on the other end of the phone going, yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going. He was like bored out of his mind. He was just going to get it at whatever cost, because money means nothing. But it means something to us because we don't know when we're going to peg it. If we did, well, we could plan. But it would make those last moments quite depressing, though, wouldn't it? We could spend the money, but we wouldn't enjoy doing it. Another way of making money, of course, is by removing your teeth. The tooth fairy. Inflation has hit the tooth fairy. The rising cost of living has even hit the tooth fairy, say savings experts at the Children's Mutual. Is there a savings company aimed at children? Perhaps there is. The average child's tooth is worth, guess how much?
Well, when I was a kid, it was 20p, but I'm guessing it's more than that.
£1.22.
Wow, that's good.
That's up 16% on last year, a rise 5 times higher than inflation. These kids, they've seriously got to downscale their demands for an inflationary rise when they lose their teeth. They're adding to the to inflationary pressures by these unreasonable demands. A mouthful of 20 baby teeth is now worth 20 quid. The survey of 3,000 parents found that London children's teeth were the most valuable. Almost 1 in 10 children gets £5 or more per tooth. Well, I think that's reasonable, isn't it?
They'll be pulling them out.
More than a sixth of parents in the survey say they suffered from fairy pressure. That's going to be the title of a new programme on Saturday night on BBC One, presented by you-know-who. They say they suffered from fairy pressure, forcing them to pay the market rate for a tooth. James, get me a set of pliers. This day will not totally go to waste. And the other thing, of course, I was talking earlier on about kids, they're wobbling about because they're so fat, and the implication is because the government has sold off school playing fields. Well, that ain't it at all. They're overweight because they eat too much. It's as simple as that. Now they've got a pill for it. It's as though anything that you can think of, they've now got a pill for. It's a weight loss pill. Now, you'd think that if you wanted to lose weight, you just eat less, right? Oh, no, it's not as simple as that. Oh, it's in the genes, or it's all this nonsense. A weight loss drug banned in the US over fears that it can heighten the risk of suicide has been given the go-ahead in Britain. The next time the government tells you that it's banning a recreational drug because it's concerned about your safety, that it's not legal because it's harmful to your health, just keep this in mind. A series of scientific studies has raised concerns that it can induce suicidal thoughts in those already suffering from depression. The drug, taken orally as a pill once a day, has not been authorised in the US because of safety fears. And you'd have to think that if something isn't authorised in the US, then there might be something in there. Because there's no end to pills that are authorised in the US, because it's all about making money, right? And if the government says to one of the giant pharmaceutical companies that perhaps you shouldn't be giving this to people because they might kill themselves, well, you might want to take note. Approval from the National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence, or which has the misnomer NICE, was issued yesterday. Trials have shown that it could help 2 out of 5 patients lose 10% of their weight. In other words, almost nothing at all. But trials would also probably show that having a salad every now and again could help 2 out of 5 patients lose 10% of their weight, not putting them on a pill that might cause them to kill themselves. Evidence suggested that 1 in 10 of those taking the drug may develop mental side effects. 1 in 10! Now, what's the similar statistic for marijuana? Because they're always going on about, we've got to ban marijuana, this evil menace that is blighting our society, because it causes schizophrenia. Now, it ain't 1 in 10, is it? Equally, nobody that I've read about on marijuana has decided to kill themselves because of it. So when they say, we can't legalise this, and you can't take that, and you can't put that in your body, and you can't pop this or smoke the other, because we're concerned for your health, well, just keep this in mind, that they've just legalised, on the NHS, mind you, a drug which evidence suggests makes 1 in 10 of people taking it develop mental side effects. Doesn't that just beat all? But they are concerned about your health. Just keep that in mind. And finally, Tony Soprano. 25 outfits worn by James Gandolfini's alter ego, Tony Soprano, sold for almost £100,000 the other day to benefit a charity that aids soldiers wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan. Isn't it awful that they have to have a charity for that and the government aren't just taking care of it? This is in America. The actor attended Christie's in New York, and the highest bid was for a blood-stained costume, a black and beige short-sleeved polo shirt, white tank top and black trousers, which he wore in the scene when Tony was shot by his demented Uncle Junior. And that went for 22 grand. What is anybody going to do with that? I mean, it's a plus size for a start. So no, and it's revolting. All of the clothes he wore in that show were horrible. What's anybody going to do with it? The next highest bid was for a 4-piece costume, which includes a yellow striped robe and boxer shorts that he wore in numerous episodes. Oh, I don't think a spin in the washing machine would take care of that. You'd have to set fire to it, wouldn't you? Ew. That went for 10 grand. I bet they're so... I bet you could stand them up on their own. Oh. The stuff people spend money on, eh? Hey, what have we talked about today, then?
Judith Chalmers going commando, the army using mobiles, Corporal Proctor killing pigeons because they get in the way, blaming the parents, bagpipes, your diatribe, noisy neighbours, Jackie Smith, police targets, furled umbrellas, hate crime, aliens parking their spaceships on top of bus shelters, cuckoo clocks, painting a house pink, pebble dash, the newspapers are there to frighten us, celebrity tittle tattle is coming soon to Channel 4, local newspapers, Sheffield, school dinners, the end of the world, why the Netherlands is sinking, inflation hits the tooth fairy, and diet pills.
Oh, you got it all in. You are a trained professional.
I'm an accident